Hello and welcome to the database tutorial, Database in an Hour. Here the main focus is on database management system, then the benefits of database management system, the various types of databases, its advantages and disadvantages. And at the end of the session, we'll have a summary of all these points. A database is an organized collection of data stored and accessed electronically from a computer system. Now let's learn what's a DBMS. A DBMS is essentially nothing more than a computerized data keeping system. Users of the system are given facilities to perform several kinds of operations on such a system for either manipulation of data in the database or the management of the database structure itself. Without knowing the basis of DBMS, it's difficult to learn the database updates in this field. Now let us start up with the benefits of DBMS. The various benefits of DBMS are data security, data sharing, data access and auditing, data integration, abstraction and independence, uniform management and administration. Data security. The practice of protecting digital information from unauthorized access, corruption, or theft throughout its entire cycle is data security. The primary aim of data security is to protect the data that an organization collects, stores, creates, receives, or transmits. Now, we may think, who is responsible for this data security? As data is stored on the computer system, so the IT director is made responsible for protecting it. And it remains true that many of the security measures used to protect data are IT based. Firewalls, permissions, encryptions, all these are technical solutions to the problems of preventing data loss, theft, and leakage. Let's move on to data security types. We have authentication. The server needs to know who is accessing the site. Authentication is the process of verifying the identity of the user or information. An operating system generally identifies or authenticates users using the following three ways. The first one is the passwords, physical identification, and biometrics. Second point is access control. This dictates who is allowed to access. Access control is a security technique that regulates who or what can view or use resources in a computer environment. Physical access control limits access to campuses, buildings, rooms, and physical IT assets. Logical access control limits connections to computer networks, system files, and data. Backup and recovery. The process of creating and storing copies of data that helps against data loss is called as a backup. Data masking. It is a way to create fake but a realistic version of our organizational data to protect sensitive data. For example, like user training or sales demos, etc. Next is deletion and erasure. Deletion and erasure may sound similar, but these two are different terms, not to be confused. Data deletion leaves data recoverable, while data erasure is permanent. This is especially important for business. Data security includes data encryption, data hashing, and tokenization. Data encryption is a method of protecting data confidentiality by converting into encoded information. Data hashing is simply passing some data through a formula that produces a result. Tokenization is the process of turning sensitive data into insensitive data called tokens that can be used in a database. The key management practices includes using the correct algorithm and the key size, secure storage, and access control. What do you mean by data sharing? The ability to share the same data source with multiple applications or users. It implies that the data are stored in one or more servers in the network, and that there is some software locking mechanism that prevents the same set of data from being changed by two people at the same time. Data access and auditing. Data access is to provide more transparency into how your app and its dependencies access private data from users. And data auditing enables you to track and understand how your records are used and gives you visibility into any risk of misuse or breaches. When you conduct an audit, you can monitor each interaction with the data and log it to an audit trail. Data integration. Data integration involves combining data residing in different sources and providing users with a unified view of them. Integration is one of the core elements of the overall data management process. Its primary objective is to produce consolidated data sets that are clean and consistent and meet the information needs of different end users in an organization. Data integration is the practice of consolidating data from disparate sources into a single data set. Its primary objective is to produce consolidated data sets that are clean and consistent and meet the information needs of different end users in an organization. Data abstraction and independence. Data abstraction is the reduction of a particular body of data to a simplified representation. In a simple way, we can explain it as a set of essential characteristics only. Only the essential attributes are taken and the rest are hidden from the user. Consider a simple example of a man learning car driving. He only learns driving and not the internal mechanisms of the car. The other attributes are hidden from the user. The main purpose is to reduce programming complexity and efforts. Data independence is defined as a property of DBMS that helps you to change the database schema at one level of a database system without requiring to change the schema at the next higher level. Data independence helps you to keep data separated from all the programs that make use of it. Physical data independence is defined as the ability to make changes in the structure of the lowest level of the DBMS without affecting the logical or view levels. Uniform management and administration. A uniform management system, also known as the Manpack management, is a secure online e-procurement solution designed and built to accelerate the process of ordering and reordering sets or packs of apparels and products. Uniform data administration, concurrent access, recovery from crashes. Many users can access, update the database at the same time without any interference. So, this session completes the benefits of DBMS. Now, let's move on to the next session, that is, the various types of databases. In this session, we'll be learning about centralized database, distributed database, relational database, NoSQL database, cloud, object oriented, hierarchical, and network database. Totally, we'll be learning about 8 types of databases in this session. Let's have an overview of the centralized database management system. As the word suggests, a centralized database is a database that's located, stored, and maintained in a single location. This location is most often a central computer or database system. It can be a desktop or server CPU or a mainframe computer. Let's move on to the advantages of a centralized database management system. The first point is data integrity is maximized. Data integrity is the maintenance of and the assurance of data accuracy and consistency over the entire life cycle. Data integrity can be compromised in several ways. Each time data is replicated or transferred, it should remain intact and unaltered between updates. The next point is data redundancy is minimized. Data redundancy occurs when the same piece of data is stored in two or more separate places. Example, you create a database to store sales records, and in the records for each sale, you enter the customer address. The address that's repeatedly entered is redundant data. One more example is saving the same file 5 times to 5 different disks. The next point which we are going to learn is data security measures. The measures taken to protect data of our business is called data security measures. Example, establishing strong passwords, set up a firewall, antivirus protection, etc. The fourth point is data portability. The right to data portability allows individuals to maintain and reuse their personal data for their own purposes across different services. It allows them to move, copy, or transfer personal data easily from one IT environment to another in a safe and secure way without affecting the usability. So these are the advantages. The first, let me revise once more. The first point in advantages is data integrity is maximized. Second is data redundancy is minimized. The third point is stronger security measures are taken. And fourth point is data is easily portable. Next, let's go to the disadvantages. Because it's maintained in a single server, it's highly dependent on other data. Bottlenecks can occur because of the congestion of data at certain areas. Then the third point is limited access by more than one person. Now let's look into the distributed database. Here the databases are physically distributed across sites in a computer network. It's like a divide and rule policy. The advantages of distributed databases, it helps in faster data access, faster data processing, improved communication, reduced operation cost, and user-friendly infra. The disadvantages are its complex nature, which increases its overall cost, which leads to security issues and lacking standards. Let's move on to the relational database. This is the most important database of all the databases. Let's take a simple example of a school database where there would be 3 sections: student, instructor, and course. All the three are related to each other. The student registers for the course and the instructor teaches. So all the three are related to one another. So it's termed as relational database. Each row in a relational database is called a record with a unique key. Out of all the different types of databases, RDBMS is the most effective relational database management system. Its advantages are the speed, simplicity, accuracy, and cost effectiveness. Advantages of RDBMS is that it doesn't fit in every domain. There would be impedance mismatch, difficult schema evolution, and weak distributed availability due to the poor horizontal scalability. NoSQL database provides a mechanism for storage and retrieval of data that's modeled in means other than the tabular relations used in relational database. It existed since late 1960s. Cloud database, a database that typically run on a cloud computing platform, and access to the database is through cloud platform provided as a service. The database that's built, deployed, and accessed in a cloud environment is called as cloud database. The most important advantages are the reduction of cost and the reliability. Now, going to the disadvantages, there would be data loss or theft, data leakage would be there. The cloud database has two common deployment models. Users can run databases on the cloud independently using virtual machine image, or they can purchase access to a database service maintained by a cloud database provider. Of the databases available on the cloud, some are SQL based and some are no SQL data models. Let's move on to the object oriented database. An object oriented database is a database system that can work with complex data objects. An OOD is organized around objects rather than actions and data rather than logic. The main difference between object oriented database and object relational database is that object oriented database is a database that represents data in the form of objects, like in object oriented programming, while object relational database is a database that is based on the relational model and object oriented model. Hierarchical database. Hierarchical database model is a data model in which the data organized into tree-like structure. The data are stored as records which are connected to one another through links. A record is a collection of fields with each field containing only one value. Now, looking into the advantages and disadvantages, we can find out that addition and deletion of new information is quite easy. In a hierarchical database, the data which is at the top can be accessed quickly. The last type of database which we are going to learn is network database. A network database is a type of database model wherein multiple member records or files can be linked to multiple owner files. This gives improved data sharing. It also improves data security. It helps in better data integration, improved data access, and decision making. Now, let's summarize all that what we had learned. We had learned about a database, what's a DBMS, its benefits, various types of DBMS, its advantages and disadvantages, and how it helps us in handling our cyberspace.